Thank you guys so much for being here. We're so glad to have you all, and especially Dr. Cifu for giving us his time to be here and give us this excellent introduction. He is an excellent speaker. I'll introduce him after I give a quick brief introduction to our organization for anyone who might not be familiar with it. So the AOC PM&R is a professional organization that provides leadership and a home for the osteopathic PM&R profession nationally. We offer student leadership, student mentorship, free student mentorship, might I add. And it's really easy. You go on our website, you can fill out a form, and we'll pair you up with a mentor in the PM&R field. It can be a resident or an attending. We also have student research help. We're starting programs to help facilitate the process of seeking medical students for research projects. We host an annual mid-year meeting conference with a research symposium. This membership is free for students. There's great networking opportunities with other students, with residents in the field of PM&R and attendings as well. The education series we put on, like this one, is an excellent exposure to diverse topics and practices within the field of PM&R. We have an upcoming educational series on prosthetics in September. I think September 6th is what we're looking at. So that'll be good to check out too. We host a journal club, and we also have a lot of education and guidance through the match process, which is incredibly valuable once you get to the end of your third year and into your fourth year. And this even includes some mock interview prep. A lot of the residents and attendings volunteer their time to help us medical students prepare for these interviews and the match. So AOC PM&R can offer a lot of things. We're a great organization, and we're glad to have you here. But for some of you who might not necessarily know what PM&R is, I will let Dr. Cifu get into that after I introduce him. Let's get what I need for that. So Dr. Cifu, there's a lot to say about him. He is an eminent scholar, an associate dean for innovation and system integration for the Virginia Commonwealth University School of Medicine. He's a tenured professor there as well, and the chair of the Department of PM&R. And VCU School of Medicine is located in Richmond, Virginia. He's also the chief of PM&R services for the VCU Health System. He's the founding director of the VCU Center for Rehabilitation Services and Engineering, the senior consultant for the Sheltering Arms Institute, and senior traumatic brain injury specialist for the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Now, it doesn't stop there. It goes even further. Dr. Cifu has delivered more than 625 regional, national, and international lectures. He's published more than 250 scientific articles, co-authored or edited 45 books and book chapters. He is the editor-in-chief of the premier line of texts in the field of PM&R, Braden's Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation.
Enough,
he's
dude.
been
Enough. Come on.
I got two more lines. I thought they were important.
Bang them out. Let's go. Bang them out, baby.
All right. So he has also been the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs champion for the 2009, 2016, and 2021 VA Department of Defense clinical practice guidelines for post-traumatic mild TBI management. And in 2021, he was recognized by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs with the Paul B. Magnuson Award for Outstanding Achievement in Rehab Research and Development. Dr. Cifu, everybody.
Oh, thank God. All right. Thank you for the intro. It's very nice. I appreciate it. I'm going to tell you this, like, you have all made the right decision. Okay. This is the field for you. It is the best. I saw some of the questions that I'm supposed to be answering. I'll address those, but there's no way I would have ever done something different other than PM&R if I had to do it again. It rocks. Let me see if the screen share will work. There we go. All right. You see the railroad tracks? Yeah, we're good. Okay. So I'm going to just bang through a couple of 10 or so slides, you know, and paint a little bit of a picture, but just how awesome it is. And then you can ask me the questions like, how do I get into a good residency? How do I suck up? You know, like, will you write me a letter? Those kind of things. And I'm look, I got it. All right. I'm happy to help you guys in any way possible. I know that, you know, Austin and Garrett, I've worked with them and stuff, and they will tell you, I love helping junior folks and giving you the inside scoop. So I'm going to do all that. I'm going to try to cover some of this. Again, I'm not going into great depth because you can read about it online. You've heard some of it before. And certainly want to save some time for more specific questions, but I'll paint you the picture of what a wonderful field it is. I imagine by now you know all this, but the thing is, the reason I love rehabilitation so much and why I would absolutely do it again is it's not even a single field. It's like 20 fields. All right. It all revolves around the concept of team and interdisciplinary and understanding that people are actually not diagnoses or conditions or disabilities. They're people. And treating their challenges as part of their life is what we do. Whether their challenge is an ankle sprain because they play in the NFL, which is, sounds like it's just an ankle sprain, but that's their whole livelihood, right? And I work in the NHL a little bit, so I can tell you about how freaked they get about little things. To someone who's just had a spinal cord injury and their biggest concern is how will they feed their family, or will they walk again, to a family that has a child that's born with special needs or has physical disabilities and doing that stuff. Like right now I do a lot of brain injury stuff. I don't see myself as a brain injury guy or person. I'm known for all that, but I'm a rehab guy. I have a wheel that can provide care literally for everything from acute back pain to people with disabling arthritis or people with burns, and it's all so fun. But so, we can be as primary care, in the trenches, taking care of sick people as we want, which when I was training, that was kind of the cool thing. It no longer sounds sexy, but it did back then. To being the super specialist that really is a consultant to elite athletes or to the military like I do, or, so it's the full range, and you can be a diagnostician who does a lot of work with electrodiagnosis or physical exam or injection work, to someone that is just treating a specific condition, to someone who does everything. I would highly recommend, and if you want to do well on interviews, say you like the whole field, you like the concept, right, Garrett? You just love the way we look at patients as total human beings. Do not say you like sports medicine or I want to be an interventional pain doc. You will not get into our residency if you say that. You may believe that. I'm not stupid, but don't tell me you've specialized as a medical student. Please don't do it. You shouldn't do that as a medical student, but don't say it on the interview. All right. So I would just say that. But you shouldn't. You should learn everything. I'm still learning. I love learning constantly. I'm growing in new areas. I try to change my specialty every 5 years because I get bored. This brain injury thing is getting very old. I got to move to something else. But anyway, so we certainly can be lifelong docs for certain people with diagnoses, but we can also just be very acute docs. Like I don't see my brain injury patients forever and ever. Like when I can't help them, I stop seeing them in a couple of years. I don't understand lifelong care. If they need it, they bounce back. But anyway, again, you can be just a diagnostician. You can be the world's best foot and ankle specialist and work with a sports team, or you can be a brain injury specialist and just work with, again, a sports team or something else. A lot of diagnostic, has tons of ultrasound. All rehab docs training now are beasts at musculoskeletal ultrasound. It's cool. I especially like it because it doesn't reimburse that well. So people it's not like worthless MRI. 99% of MRIs are worthless. All right, completely worthless. You have no value. I'm a brain injury guy. I never get MRIs. They tell me nothing. From my research, I get it, but ultrasound actually tells you hands-on what's going on, and you do something with the information right there. And it doesn't reimburse well, so it's not being abused. I love that. It's really good. A lot of what I do now is leadership work, administration, teamwork, bringing consortia together, or, showing people how to work efficiently as a team. I do a lot of financial consulting too. I really understand how to make a lot of money and how to optimize your time and efficiency so that you can, really do what you want to do. Whether that's see more patients or whether that's go lift weights or go, sailboard. I don't care what you want to do, but you really want to know how to run an operation efficiently. And don't ever, you can repeat this being videoed. Don't ever go see a doctor. Don't get advice from a doctor that hasn't figured out how to make a lot of money. Doesn't mean they're driving a Bentley. Doesn't mean that, they're living large. But if someone is overwhelmed by the healthcare finances, you can see them if you like. But I want someone who's figured out the system as well, so that they really can enjoy their life and they can optimize their time and really see their patients as someone to help rather than a source of income, or someone that at some point some docs are like, oh, I hate seeing patients because I don't make any money, or they want so much of my time. I'm like, dude, figure out how to make it work. Like, this is your lifelong thing. I will never stop working. I love being a doctor. I love being a rehab doctor, but I also like getting rich. I like making money, and it's really not hard in our field or in healthcare. So, again, that's not my number one thing, and it's not what I do. It's not why I do it, but it's not very hard to do. And you want to learn about that in your training as well. So you can ask that, don't be as grotesque as I just was, but when you're interviewing in a residency, like, is there education on practice management, on how to, set up a, your practice so that it's efficient, making money? How do you document effectively and appropriately? That should be part of your education, and you should learn. You're not going to learn a ton of that in med school, but be thinking about that. Like no person who works for a living doesn't understand how the system of payment works for their career. The people at UPS make more than all residents right now, like 3 times that amount. And yet they're still delivering packages, but they felt that their time was worth money. So is yours. All right. The last statement is really what rehab's always been, which is holistic, integrative. All right. It's about the whole person, combining East and West. It's always been about that since I was a resident. Now, every freaking specialty is like integrative and holistic. Like when did that? They're not. They're just saying it. Like, I was on an elevator a couple of years ago and I heard 2 orthopods say to each other, "We should really get with the team and talk about this." I almost gagged. All right. That's just not how surgeons have ever worked. I'm glad they said that. But this is all we've ever done, is really see the value in working with other healthcare professionals, working with the family, working with the chaplain, working with the vocational person. It's so cool. It really has always given me a belief that medicine is really an awesome thing. All right, it isn't about prescribing medications, about doing injections, about just generating money. It's really about making a difference in people's lives, and rehab does that. As you're aware, the training is, you can find it on any website, but it's a year. Some places are combined 4 years, but the majority are a year of doing an internship of some type, usually separate from the department, but it can be integrated, as I said, and then 3 years of training. Sadly, there's in all of medicine, there's this weird, bizarre, totally against science approach that we should super specialize and do fellowships. Like, there's not enough doctors, there's not enough primary care work, that you don't make a penny more being a super specialist, and yet there's this amazing push towards it. I will say our department has like every fellowship in the world because that's what the residents want. Even though I tell them never to do any, they all do them. It's like reverse psychology, but it's a big area in rehabilitation. Again, I think when you're graduating, I'm going to still tell you, do not do a fellowship, but 90% of you will. So I'll stop droning on that one. There aren't that many of us. There's more cardiologists who graduate every year than there are total PM&R docs. That's a little exaggeration, but it's pretty close to true. There just aren't that many. So it's good and bad. It's good because there will be jobs forever and jobs everywhere. It's bad because lots of other specialists and non-specialists are filling the gaps of holistic care, of brain injury care, of back pain, of sports medicine. 5% of sports medicine docs are PM&R. 85% are surgeons, which is not sports medicine, even though they may be wonderful surgeons. So it's a double-edged sword. We want actually more PM&R docs to spread the love, spread the name, spread the word, because non-PM&R docs, A, don't do it as well, B, are gonna have a different approach and are just gonna be kind of going through the motions, and C, they often will take less money than we will, and that's never good. You don't ever want to be undersold. So there needs to be more of us. There is an expansion in the number of training programs, but it certainly isn't keeping up with the number of individuals with disability and the needs for it across the country and the world, actually. And actually, you can get a job anywhere in the world. We've had 2 of our residents who went on to just do locums for like 2 or 3 years all over the world. There was one of them that I literally came across first in, and maybe I've told you this one, Nelson. First I saw her in New Zealand, and then I think I saw her in either Singapore or Korea. I'm like, I saw her more internationally than I did when she was in training. All right, she was everywhere, and she loved it. Now she's in California, but actually at a VA, and she's loving it. The training has shifted to be more balanced now. When I was a resident, it was largely inpatient with a caress of outpatient. Now it's a lot more outpatient and procedural than just inpatient. This blend is kind of what you should be looking for in a training program as well. And I will tell you, do not say, oh, I'm going to go for a program that's all procedures or all outpatient. That may be what you want to do with your life, and I'm down with that, but you want to know how to do everything. That's why I'm marketable. There's nothing I can't do or say. It doesn't mean I'm the best at anything. I'm far from it, but I feel very comfortable in a nursing home, in a procedure lab, in an EMG lab, reading MRIs, which I don't think are valuable, but I still know how to read them. But so really being in a program that's training across the board, really important. Look for a balance. All right. It's 3 years of your life. Work, find a program that's balanced. Do not care what the call schedule is. We have the easiest lifestyle of any physician I've ever met. And the training program is similarly easy. Learn, volunteer to spend more time learning, volunteer for everything. I'm not just saying that to get you to suck up. Trust, I did it as a resident. I was a suck up. All right. I was a brown noser, but man, I learned a lot. I really, really, and the older you get, it gets more hard. It gets harder. It gets more hard. It gets harder to learn, and it gets harder to put in that much time. Do it when you're young and eager. All right. And I'll stop preaching. Anyway, also in the residency, you'll get exposure to a ton of other areas, of course. You may rotate with other specialties, but certainly you'll work with these folks. Palliative care is a very big part of our training. We work very closely, certainly VCU does, but lifestyle medicine and functional medicine are big areas of emphasis. Now, we've been doing this for 30 years. Now lifestyle medicine is a thing. It's cool. I love lifestyle medicine, but really it's what we do. It's, understanding about diet and exercise and sleep and mindfulness and psychological factors. I mean, that, and it's important because very little aspects of medicine look at that holistic approach, really important. Again, my residency program was easy, and I was on call like 1 in 4, but and again, it's not very hard being on call. I got more sleep on call than I did when I was home. I just say that as well. And from a lifestyle standpoint, as an attending, it's really easy, really easy. All right, you're not going to work. You're going to work, but it's not because you have to work. There's like almost no call. Anyway, it's typically a Monday through Friday kind of residency. 8-hour days are pretty typical. And the call average is about 1 in 6. And that's over 3 years. So the first year is like 1 in 4, and then it becomes 1 in 6, and then 1 in 8 or something like that, or 1 in 9. It's balanced. It's cake. The careers are pretty limitless. The majority of people go into just outpatient, just MSK, whether that's chronic or acute or interventional or not, but lots and lots, and that's trend's been there for a while. About 20% will do a blend, and about 10% will go into academia. Obviously, I'm in academia, but even in academia, most people are doing MSK. All right, and there's that blend as well. I don't know if I have it coming up, but just so I don't forget it, I mean, working in SNFs, skilled nursing facilities, which are specialty parts of nursing homes, is a exploding trend for new graduates. There are 2 massive companies that are just sucking up new graduates, and sadly underpaying them to work in these nursing homes all over the country. I would never do that. Our program, we work in 5 nursing homes, so you get training in that. And I'm looking for a faculty member now, so hurry up and graduate to run the SNFs. I love working in a SNF. I've been doing it since 97. It's fun, love the elders, easiest money you'll ever make. You have 120 people, all funded, all waiting to see you every day, all of whom need rehab, all of whom, are eager to work with you, and a team of therapists. So it's to me, it's gold. Anyway, so there's a lot of fun things. Salary, schedules, and call are extremely variable. Again, young folks like you tend to, want to lean more towards, more vacation, less time. That's fine. That's easily available, readily available. Obviously, you have to be careful of the attraction of money. Once you start to make money, it's really hard to like say, well, I'm gonna go, windsurfing today. But you're gonna suddenly get into that. So think early in your life what you actually want, what's important. None of you will be needing money in 20 years. None of you. All right. So be thinking about what your values are and how do I kind of instill those in my job. So the specific areas of growth I've listed here. I've got the SNF thing there. I knew I did. But if you want to have the best chance of getting a good job, keep your mind open to do it all, because best jobs are often not the ones where 15 people are already doing them. It's what's unique. That's the punter on a football team has an awesome job. Nobody's competing for it, rarely. Long careers. All right. So be thinking about how you can do that. Sadly, but thankfully for the field, the demographics and the healthcare trends in the US are feeding right into us. People are fatter. People think that smoothies are a form of wellness, and high colonics and the paleo diet is actually good for you. It's fantastic. Vaping, best thing in the world for cardiovascular disease. Bring it on. I'm being a little facetious here, but pain is on the rise because of the stressors of the world, and because people think that their bodies are toys and they can just replace parts like video gaming, or they sit on the couch and play video games all day, and then they decide they're going to go play pickleball. So the demographics sadly are America's not getting healthier or more well or taking better care of themselves. Do not believe that. If it weren't for places like Lululemon and places like that, you would think that everybody was exercising out there. They're just buying these pants and things so that they look like they're fit. All right. I feel sad about that because I'm a prevention, lifelong kind of guy, and I'm getting into the dementia world. But unfortunately, the trends are not that way. So your career is set with this in all areas. There's no oversaturation. The biggest challenges are things that don't work. Eventually, the funding sources will shut off. And there are certain things that we're involved in that really don't seem to make a difference. And so we have to be very careful of overdoing those. Interventional pain things are a big deal. So here are some of the elements of just talking about. Like, if you understand PM&R to be something that links across all of these areas, aging, obesity, people want to be more independent for longer, oncology, cancer and transplants are on the rise. All right, what we're doing. And these are niche areas. The big areas: stroke, brain injury, spinal cord, amputation, vascular disease, diabetes, they're exploding too. Hopefully you can play a role in reducing that, but until we do, that those aren't, the career is set. In addition, the principles that we have are what healthcare has turned to: holistic, integrative, working across disciplines, looking at meaningful outcomes, not just their pneumonia is better, but they can actually go home and be independent. Not that they survived a heart attack, but they can go back to work because you've done cardiac rehab, right? Not that just that, you did great after the brain injury. No, they're actually going back to school or work or whatever they're doing. So and we're looking at ROI, like what value does rehab bring to the person? Not just, oh, they liked it. Now, like we're seeing a return on the investment. Usually it's 11 to 1 is the number people traditionally use. And again, wide range. Don't limit yourself. You can do concierge PM&R, not what I like to do, but you can make lots of money off Medicaid, Medicare. Again, it's all out there. So, I can't stress enough how great it is. Work-life balance. I believe more in work-life integration. Like I'm not really working right now, even though I guess I am. I'm talking to you guys, having fun. If you think about it that way, if you're really enjoying what you do, and you can build that into your lifestyle, like my wife and I volunteer with disability sports and wheelchair sports programming. It's fun. I'm using my expertise as a doctor. Like I cover some events, a wheelchair tennis tournament, but I'm just having fun. I'm out there, hanging out with people, so it's neat. But if you're really that into like, the ER kind of lifestyle where like you have 8 hours of work or 12 hours, and you're off for 3 years, you can do that in PM&R. It absolutely exists. I don't recommend it because ER and anesthesia docs are not very happy. I know a lot of them. They shift a lot. PM&R docs stay in their jobs forever. So again, I just speak from that, but it's available. You can do shift work, lots of locum work and other things like that. Obviously my love is academics and working with veterans, limitless jobs in the VA. I love working in the VA. I work in the VA and for the state and do some private gigs. So there's, you can have a diverse practice. VA jobs will be there forever. Veterans have every risk factor that's perfect for us. And the PM&R is very strong in the veteran system. But again, same thing's true in the, private sector workers' comp system. So it's not unique to that. I love academics, best lifestyle in the world, great benefits, guaranteed cash, lots of vacation. Academic, we make as much as the private sector and don't work as hard. So I don't exactly understand the private sector, but it's there too. You can glide through these things. Again, if you're in academics, I think you're going to stay there, but people in the private sector can glide across different ways, but you're not limited to one specific, and you can do inpatient, outpatient, a mix, interventional across any of these spheres, private sector, academics, VA, mix. All right. So you're not limited to any one. You can be a mega entrepreneur and have 30 people working for you, running nursing homes or running interventional things. So you can do the business thing too. I wouldn't recommend it because it's a burnout thing, but you can cash out as well doing that. All right. So if you're interested, you guys have heard a little bit about this. And I know there was a question about what if you can't get a training slot. I'll try to address that. But obviously, to really know the field, you got to do some of it. You got to dive in there and don't just do something that you're like, I'm going to do sports medicine. That's cool, but try to do some inpatient work or some geriatric outpatient or some pediatric. Really try to get exposure to it. And the people you work with are as important as the settings. Do you dig the person that you're kind of spending time with? Are they a normal human being? Do you like them? Is that someone? Do they have a life that I would kind of like? And no matter what you go into, because they're you in 20 years or 30 years. All right. Yes, it can be a little bit different, but kind of look for that. And that's why I went into PM&R. I was up in Boston. I met the coolest attendings I met were PM&R. Not cool like they were hip, but they had great lifestyles. They seemed really happy and passionate. And so that's how I jumped into the fray. Being part of a training or research project is a great way to kind of pad your resume a little bit, but also to learn a little bit about the field. It doesn't have to be Nobel Prize winning research. It could be a case report, or it could be something that's looking at quality improvement in the training program, or you could help write a summary of some area that's going to be part of a training module. doesn't really matter what you do, but when you connect with someone, say, hey, what can I do to contribute to what you're doing? Don't say, I want to do research on the left kneecap. It's the only work I want to do. Give me that project. You could say that, but I wouldn't. I'd say I'm really open to anything because I just want to learn about the field and I want to show you what I got. I want to produce things. All right. And that's what I'd be looking for in the CV. Something that you can also talk about at a residence, at an interview, or you can put into your little, your write-up, what do they call your essay? Like don't just say, well, my grandfather had a stroke and it was so lovely and it helped him get his life back. That's nice, but give me something that's you. All right. Like what have you done the last 5 years that kind of touches this? All right. And again, personal injuries, not as exciting when I read essays. If I read one more essay about a former athlete whose career was over, I'm like, ugh, all right, that's nice. But what about the interaction with the therapist or the system or disability or pain moved you? Go there. Don't tell me about how you got a knee brace and you did a lot of squats or something like that. Give me, take it to a level that I'm like, oh, this person gets the fact that it impacted them across different ways. I mentioned a little bit about volunteer activities, whether that's being someone who helps support coverage of an athletic event, disability or not, a marathon, or someone that is actually doing some volunteer work with disabled kids or people in wheelchair, something like that. It looks good in the CV. It also makes you feel cool. If you've never watched wheelchair tennis, it's sick how good they are. Like on my best day, I couldn't beat some of these people. It's crazy. Like we had some of the the nation's number one A-level player, unbelievable. Like 100-mile an hour, 110-mile-an-hour serves, crazy from a wheelchair, insane. We're looking for people that feel comfortable talking to others, relating to others who might not look like them or act like them, have a different life experience. You need to, if you're not that person, that's okay, but you got to get there or don't be in PM&R. I got to tell you, it's a people field, no matter what you do. Even if you're an EMG, electrodiagnostic person, you still want to talk to humans. And that's what I'm looking for. We're looking for, kind of relatable folks. We are certainly looking for people that have a passion, and keep your passion spread, right? Be passionate about the concept, not just one place. If you have one experience, you can bring that out, but then say, I can see how, sports medicine, the approach could apply to people with cerebral palsy or geriatric. I could see that, that you're seeing them not just as a knee injury, but as an athlete or as not just a child in a wheelchair, but someone who's going to school and has to deal with peers, or not just a service member that's been brain injured, but as someone who has lost their meaning and their status in life, and how can I rebuild that? So take a little idea that you've experienced perhaps and make it a little bigger. That goes over really well. So for an interview, you want to have that little story and make up a good one. Don't give me every fact. And if they're not a perfect injury, make believe they were. Don't say, well, we didn't really know their diagnosis. Make it up. Okay. Give me a story that I'm like, oh, this is cool. He saw somebody with ALS and there was some end of life discussion. All right, that's beefy. There's something there, so do that. And also, and I know many of you do that, reach out to students of, the years above you that are getting closer to it and learn their tricks of the trade, and if they've interviewed do it early in your career. So you kind of hear how the interviews went. But they may have connections for you as well that can help you. I always finish with this, like, dude, be healthy. Okay. Like, don't just talk it, be it. All right. So, like think about how you can embody this and influence those around you, whether that's eating well or, being active and, any of the things. This is from The Blue Zone, but by Dan Buettner, which is like a Bible to me, but there's plenty of other, things out there. And do not say paleo in front of me ever. All right. With vegan or nothing. No, but you can eat whatever you like, but certainly be someone that is understanding the value of good health. And part of good health is good physician care, good therapy care, good nursing care. So I'm not, I'm not anti-medicine. I'm all about it, but we got to integrate more of it, and our field is wide open to that. This is Richmond. It's awesome. We can't take all of you into our program as much as we would like, but this is our this is our new children's pavilion. Where's our new? This is our rehab hospital. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. How do I go back? Okay. This is our new rehab hospital. It's about to be 144 beds. It's crazy cool. This is downtown Richmond, and MCV is right behind here. We have level 4 and 5 rapids in the river in the springtime, because we are right where the African and the American tectonic plates come together right downtown. So it drops. So there's like a 6-foot drop or something like that. So we have this cool rapids. I'm too much of a wuss to do them, but we have a lot of stuff, and we have a massive outdoor sports scene here. Mountain biking and again rafting, and they've got all these climbing walls, which is great for our business. Sadly, this is my office in the Egyptian building, the finest example of Neo-Egyptian architecture in the United States, the only example of Neo-Egyptian architecture still standing in the United States, built in 1848. So it's a lovely place. It truly is a rehab mecca. This is our VA, the second largest building in Virginia behind the Pentagon. Unbelievable rehab experience. VAs rock, not just because I work there, but they truly are meccas for our America's heroes. So very cool thing. So I stopped there, and you all certainly have my email address. Can reach out to me at any time. I'm always happy to talk to you. Again, as several people on this thing know, I'm happy to do that. And let's stop sharing and we can talk. Oh, we've added some people. I'll start from the beginning. No, I'm just kidding. I'm trying to think of the questions that were on the one question I know that I didn't really touch on well is, what if I can't get a good externship or internship? How can I really pop up? All right. One, I've talked about a couple ways is find, folks in your area perhaps that you can at least get to know and shadow for a day or two. All right. I see the chat thing too. But so that's a way to do it. Or you can kind of, find someone that maybe is doing sports med, but isn't a rehab doctor. Someone who's doing stroke care, or someone's doing nursing home work, or whatever, that's at least in the space, because not everybody is blessed to have PM&R, robustly in the area. I get that. There's a lot of it out there, but, seeking out private practice PM&R docs, they're usually PM&R docs are just nice people. I haven't met a lot of ones I don't like. So they're usually very open to that, and very, amenable to it. And, it's not as good as getting a letter from me. All right, let's be honest, right? But it's not bad. Someone that really spent time with you and say, I haven't had a lot of, students interested in this, but, Ryan was very eager and was very, I don't know if that's your middle name, Ryan, I don't know what it is, but regardless, they were very, so a letter that really kind of pops is nice. But you can also have virtual relationships, like Austin and I have a nice virtual relationship, where we've kind of been communicating in a totally nice way. Where we've been doing some research discussions, and we've done some connections. So, there are PM&R programs all over the country where people are eager to get good folks, and I'm just as eager to recruit you as you may be to come to our program. All right. Think like that. You are the valued commodity. You're not a commodity. You're the valued service, whatever you are, human being. I guess you're human beings. You are the valued person. So, you'll be thinking of it in that way. You can bring value to my programming. It might not be with me. It could be someone else in my group or another department, but think of yourself that way. All right. And present yourself that way. All right. I think I've got value. What can I do to enhance your program? I'm only at M2, but I want to get engaged, so it's a little bit of a shtick as well. Am I gonna have to go into the chat and do this? Let's see. One new message. Oh, I can ask your questions. Okay. Are there other questions people want to pop up? Or you can just introduce yourself. So you'll say, oh, yeah, good.
Hi, Dr. Cifu. Hi, I'm Maha. I had a
Hey, Maha.
question about, because you love the VA so much.
Eh,
What what kind of research, how do you see PM&R advancing with that population
oh.
and the research funding that we have?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, first of all, your federal government gives more money to the VA than you will ever imagine. All right. And I think it's wonderful. It's awesome, not just because I get it, but because it's really important that we take care of those that serve and that defend us, right? The VA is really divided into two areas. There's brain and mental health, and then everything else from a research funding standpoint. It's insane. All right. And it's not because of anything I've ever done. Is they realize, you know what, this is a massive problem. They're looking at, a tsunami of dementia in the VA, a tsunami of suicide risk and suicide, mental health problems. They believe it all stems from concussions injured in combat, which I don't believe in, but regardless, there's a belief. So because of that, our field is just massive. Spinal cord rehab started in the VA, all right, after it came from Britain. It's massive, so well funded. We have 100 beds of just spinal cord at our VA alone. It's growing, and the research is as much as you like. Amputation care, pain care is the largest area of research growth in the VA. It's not unique to PM&R, but we're very involved and engaged in, and our group has got a large interventional and chronic pain and integrative pain program. So it's only growing, Maha. And VA. The reason I like the VA, it's the easiest research funding to get. 1 out of 3 get funded. Are you kidding me? NIH is like 1 out of 300. Really, it's good. And you're given time to do the research. So it's not like you hear like, well, I do my clinical work and then at night I go in the lab and kill some pigs or something. In the VA, you're doing the research during the day with veterans in the clinic. You can also do basic science stuff, but that's during the day. Very, like I don't get like people who don't get the VA. They're lost, but it's the ultimate work-life balance. Like it's just cool. So the future is good in that. It's also good in the military space and in the NIH. The NIH is beginning to see it. Their pay lines are just so weak. I don't get why people are fixated with that. But so the research is wide open. But it's really anything. Even pediatrics is big in the DoD because there's a lot of abuse, child abuse. There's a lot of autism. Issues in the military, so they're very big on it. So great question, thank you. I love you, by the way, Maya. That's awesome. Love that. See that? That's a nice subtle suck up she just did. That was great. I'm kidding. I'm teasing. But really, try to link if you have any ability. Try to link with your local VA or regional VA, and if you don't know, I'm happy to try to connect you if you'd like to reach out to me. I know most VAs quite well, and the people there. And even the ones that aren't top tier, they're still awesome, and there's jobs, and there's training opportunities. 75% of all residents will train in a VA during their career. Pick a residency where you train in a VA if at all possible. It's just I trained in Baylor and the Houston VA, the Michael DeBakey VA. It was wonderful, loved it, beautiful place. It was actually old and decrepit when I was there. The new one isn't where I trained, but still, it's like a mecca. Beautiful. What else? Do I have to look at the chat? You're gonna make me read? Okay. All right. Let's see. This is absolute electric. Thank you. There is a V. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. There's actually also an HPSP scholarship at VCU. That's linked with the Richmond VA that we can get you into too. So you can actually get, you can get coin to really, folks that want to work in, underserved areas, including VAs. And the starting salary at the VA is exactly the same as the starting salary in academics. Like they're paying you to get more money. It's and it's so rewarding. It's so cool. It just is. What else? Enough. I got to read the rest of this. Let's see the chat. Probably keep it up. To ask one of the questions, are there any remote? Oh, yeah. Not just VA, because I said I wouldn't just talk about VA, but in particular, VA has massive telehealth programs. I mean, I helped to start a brain injury telehealth program that one of them's out of DCVA, the other one I'm forgetting where it's at, but maybe it's in LA. But essentially they do community and at-home assessment of individuals with a range of brain injury stuff. Virtual speech therapy, PT, OT, psychology is massive in the VA. Also, I think Penn in Philadelphia has got a pretty big virtual program. We have a micro program. We do some, but not at our university, not as much as we do at our VA. But Parkinson's, spinal cord, amputation, brain injury, pain, all done virtually. And 24% of all veterans are rural or ultra rural, which I looked up, which means like nobody lives there. And so the VA and they put 32% of their dollars. So 24% veterans, 32% of their resources go to care for them because they see that as a huge area. Again, the future is now in the VA, and the VA has been doing this 10 plus years. What else?
So I'll read them out to you to make it easier. So how can someone make the most of their third year clinical rotations if they're super interested in PM&R, but they're unable to schedule a PM&R elective? It's not available.
Right. So other than, doing the weekend night, kind of suck up or kind of work, doing rotations that, are relevant to rehabilitation, which, ready for this, is all of them. All right. But, things like geriatrics that maybe work with home care and nursing home, certainly orthopedics. All right. Whether that's, geriatric orthopedics, whether that's sports orthopedics or just, trauma, neurosurgery. Are you kidding me? Neurology. You got to be good at all those things. The cool thing is we get to do all of those specialties. We get to go home early. They pay us really well, and you take care of the whole patient. So I work with neurosurgeons, neurologists. I look at neuroimaging. I work with anesthesia for pain, but our lifestyles are amazing. So you get to do so during your rotations, you're like learning about them in the concept of how can we apply this. And hopefully on those rotations, you might find somebody in rehab that you're referring patients to, and you can kind of get their name. So I do think that's important. You can, and at your interview, you're bringing, or on your essay, you're bringing in, well, I didn't get the experience, during my formal training of PM&R. I was able to do X, Y, and Z and understood how important it is to know that, as well as how does their neurologic diagnosis influence their short and long-term lives. How does having a benign brain tumor at age 4 shape somebody? Yeah, you took it out. If you're a neurosurgeon, they lived, you get a little hug and you're happy, fine. But what about the rest of their lives? That's all you. It's cool. So that's one way, Austin. I would certainly say, move heaven and earth to try to do one. That's maybe goes without saying. But begging is never beneath anyone. I would beg for anything. All right, you want to get it done. This is your life, dudes. Like it's all in. And if you do a rotation, man, you better be there early. You better be there all day. You better be finding out how you can help. You don't have to bake brownies or wash my car more than once. All right. What you need to do is get there early. Be nice to the nurses, the secretarial support, the therapists. Yeah, be nice to the doctors, but everybody's nice to doctors. That doesn't get your brownie points. Be nice. Patients should love you. All right. Listen to their stories. Volunteer to go with them to the CT scanner. Ask if you can spend a day in therapy. See, not psychotherapy, but in therapy, seeing how they do with their, with their work in the gym, no matter what you're doing. You had better, like I tell all the students, I'm like, are you kidding me? You got 4 weeks for us to decide on 3 or 4 years, and you're coming in late. And, are you kidding me? All right. But they still do. Maybe it's your generation, not you guys, of course, but like you guys, are you missing this? It's like, what's that De Niro thing, The Intern, when he was the most unbelievable suck up intern? Like, you gotta be like that, and not because you're sucking up, because this is your life, man. Like, this is what you want to do. It's like you should, like the rookie. Like I'm watching the Jets. What's that thing called? What's it? Oh, Hard Knocks, right? I love Hard Knocks, right? I'm like, those rookies, they're doing anything, man. You kidding me? Concussion. I didn't get a concussion. My head always spins, right? You got to be there. All right. So, if and their life, it's life and death. It's life and death for you. And I don't mean that to stress you. All right, please. You're all going to have great lives. All right. It's all good. Really. At the end of the day, man, it all works out. All right. So don't overstress. Yeah, go ahead, Alexander.
Yeah, hey, nice to that was super informative. Um, you mentioned the variability and that you could hop between like focuses in PM&R, right? When you're actually doing that, how do you go about doing that? Because don't you have to then learn a whole new specialty? You have to find some.
No. Yeah, it's a great question. So, but I literally started as a geriatric person. All right. I just loved it. I loved the concept and, I did that. And then like after like 3 years, I'm like, I was in a setting, I was actually at VCU, and there was a need for me to do something else. I think it was the consult service or something like that. So, and I'm like, I can do this. And I probably sucked for the first month, but I knew about rehabilitation. I had read the books. I was doing lectures. All I have to do is know more than everybody else who could see that person. There was nobody else competing against me. And after a couple of weeks, I was rocking, and I loved it, and I learned more. All right. Like, I need a fellowship. 2 days. You pick it. You'll see this. You'll see your skill set will go from like second year med student, like, it's like, how do I talk to a person? Like, oh, I'm embarrassed, to like, yeah, this is easy. Fourth year, like, yeah, we bang those chest tubes out. Yeah. To resident, like, oh, I can, but your curve will be crazy. All right. And I literally became a brain injury guy overnight, because our department needed someone to cover brain injury because somebody left. And, I had learned about it in my residency. I was, probably I saw people in the ICU, but I didn't know the nuances. All right. I picked them up, baby. I learned it, and I'm not it's not me. It's PM&R. It's a wheel. It's just turning in a different space.
So the foundation for PM&R is enough to let you go wherever. That's what you're saying. That's
yes. And anybody that doesn't feel comfortable doing that hasn't learned enough about PM&R. Again, am I better now than I was 5 years ago? Sure, at what I'm doing. Sure. But 5 years ago, I was the best choice. Well, I'm making up 5 years, but I was the best choice in that space. I'm always looking, like, I literally started nursing home consults. I called 1998, 1997. I was about to be in the chair or something like that, and I wanted to, I wanted to give my practice to a junior person, which is kind of how we roll in our department. And I'm like, I got to find some gig, right? So I'm like, I called up some nursing homes and I said, I'm Dave Cifu, I'm a rehab god. I would love to come in there and kind of help. Met with the administrator, met with the therapist. It was like a desert needing water. All right. I will tell you offline about the first couple patients I saw. I was like, what is this? But quickly, I'm like, okay, they need to know a lot about pain management. You need to know a lot about Parkinson meds. You still have to know the wheel of therapy and independence and balance and neurology and stuff like that. But there was some nuances to it. They were on the same sort of meds, and there were some fears in the geriatrician I had to work with. I crushed it. I love that. And then in like 8 years, I gave it to a partner, and now it's exploded. And I did something else. And I think I started a brain injury day rehab program. I don't even know what that means, but again, you just have to be better than everybody else who's doing it, or nobody else. All right. You'll find that about our specialty. I would never, I think it's idiotic to pick a section of rehab where it's crowded and jump in that fray. I don't understand why anybody does that. It's like, oh, let's come up with 6 more electric cars because Tesla isn't crushing it enough. Yeah, let's do that. All right. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to come up with, like, I don't know, it's going to have squirrels running the engine or something. I'm going to do something different. Pivot to where people aren't. Basketball 101. There's an open space on the court. Go there. All right. And, I read, I write a lot of books. I read, I do, so I'm constantly growing it. And if I don't know it, I will call up someone who knows it better than I, or seek a mentor still. All right. And again, this is not unique to me. This is how the field really is. There's such a need, Alexander. People with disability everywhere, not getting good care. A massive area is kids with disability as they become adolescent and adults. We still have pediatric rehab folks taking care of them, and they really feel out of their lane. They're still like putting like little braces on them and giving them like, I don't know, like toy kind of stuff. I'm like, this is a 22-year-old. I'm being facetious, but that market is massive, 100% funded, 100%. And emotionally, man, it's like a love fest with those folks. I love taking care of that, and I don't know jack about it, but man, I'd learn really fast. I'd read a couple things. I'm sure I've even written a chapter on it. I just don't remember it, but I'd read my own chapter and I'd run with it, So, you can pick up skills. You're the top 1% in the world in terms of intellect. Maybe everybody but Alex over there. I'm kidding. But you're it right here. Okay. If we cannot flex into these areas, like by using your learned skills, using your ability to communicate and dialogue, right? Just listening to the patient is 74% of medicine. I made that up, but it's really is just hearing what problems are they having. Common sense, dude. Common sense, right? So anyway, who else?
Thank you.
Bruce Shank. Oh God, we got Taylor. Who else is speaking? I don't care.
I think I'll go with Bruce Shank first.
Oh, okay, thanks. Hi, Dr. Cifu. Thank you
man.
for your talk.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know how with PM&R, I guess what's the scope of practice with technological advancement and the use of AI? Because I know recently there's like an implantation device that allowed a quadriplegic to have movement.
Yeah. I saw it. Yeah. So PM&R has been in the biomedical engineering world for 20 years. All right. I started the what do they call the VAs? Not adaptive. I'll think of it. But essentially using technology, adaptive aids. 20 years ago, we started VA Centers of Excellence, and the VA has an amazingly robust program where you can get anything and everything you need. Now, we're not doing. They actually will be doing implantables, but whether it's brain body interface, computer brain interfaces, we've been doing that forever. We have prosthetics that can that move via Bluetooth from electrodes that are on the it's using a cap, but we have AK prosthetics that move. Massive area, massive. There isn't massive training programs because nobody's doing it in a monster way. Pittsburgh does it well. The Cleveland Clinic does it well. We do it well at the Richmond VA. We have a whole team that does this. Probably UPMC in Pittsburgh is the most impressive, but so the space is wide open now. AI is we're now using in our research analyses in the brain injury world, but in terms of using AI to maybe help people who are returning to gain or using devices to use devices that are actually going to predict where they're using or that will learn how you use a device. So you have a smart prosthesis or a smart orthosis, wide open, easy to get research dollars too. Just because everybody and their mother wants to invest in that, whether you're getting from startup capital, whether it's through a grant. So to do that specifically, you'd want to probably link with a strong school of engineering, specifically biomedical engineering. Because that's the linkage, but you'll always need a wizened clinician who's going to say, what do I do with this toy? What do I do with this technology? There are so many toys like this that are sitting in people's closets that are never used. Super high tech prostheses. That thing that was it was at RIC, which is called the Ability Lab now in Chicago, where I think it was invented by the guy who did the Segway. Like he invented an upper extremity for someone who's got a high, a transhumeral amputation. So essentially, he's got like just a stub there, and he had a limb that was controlled by his brain and with simple movements, electrodes, and he could like pick up an egg and all this shit. And they showed it on like 2020. You know where that thing is now? It's sitting like in a locker room because it wasn't practical. He's like, I'll use my other hand, thank you. All right, or I'll find somebody else to help me pick up an egg. So how do you then take these super high-tech things and make them truly translatable and deployable? That's where the science is exciting. All right, but if you're just in the R&D area, massive right now. Its applicability is a challenge, but that's where research lies, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Actually, if you ever go to, I do a lot of international talking. If you go to any of the major conferences in Asia, you wouldn't believe, like Honda, Toyota, they're investing big time in disability work. It's crazy how cool it is. I don't think they're using it there either, but man, Honda's doing so many cool things. They've like wheelchairs that can climb upstairs and a walking device for paraplegia where essentially you can be dead and walk in it. The military is investing in these things because they want full body robotics that are wearable, so that if a person injured, they can walk themselves off the battlefield, because they don't want any more medics injured. But we're translating that to people with spinal cord injury or hemiparesis, right? So the military space is very big in that area. Cool stuff.
Okay,
So,
excellent.
Yeah, man.
And
I would say
sorry.
this is we're gonna go an extra, I'd say at 15 minutes, if that's okay with people.
Yeah, it's cool.
Usually we end at 6. I know Taylor has a question too, and Eric had a question in the chat, so we'll address those two.
Right. Bang it out,
I know
Taylor.
it takes an hour, but just wanted to let you guys know and clarify that, and then we can go continue with the questions for another 15 minutes.
Good, man.
Hi, Dr. Cifu.
Hey,
first, thank you for coming, and I'm really happy that I came. And thank you also for setting this up.
Thank you, man.
So my question was, so I know like word on the street is PM&R, it's pretty DO friendly. And I imagine that all of us have experience in OMM, and that's something that I kind of want to bring.
Yeah.
I mean, so going back a little bit, OMM, I did shadow there, and that actually introduced me into PM&R.
Cool.
I didn't really know about it until then, and now I'm like really gearing myself towards this field. And I just wanted to see if there is like at least a small cohort of people in PM&R that are
Massive cohort, massive. I mean, in my department alone, we've got just a ton, mostly DOs. We got 1 or 2 MDs that are doing it as well, but yeah, that integrated. Again, they're not just doing that. They're integrating it into a musculoskeletal sports practice or other practice. So yeah, no, it's highly valued, and it's part of integrative medicine. The thing is, like we need to stop thinking about, well, I do some OMM or I do this. I'm like, dude, we do it all. Like people want they want to feel better. They want to be more independent. They want to not see 16 other doctors and therapists, and they want control over their issues. They want you to teach them. They don't want any, like, oh, this guy's got amazing hands. I see him once a week, and I feel good for like 3 seconds. No, let's create wellness, right? And so I don't think one skill is enough. I don't think you can just do one thing. It doesn't mean you can't get people from pain to pain-free using it. I get that, but when with that engagement you just had, can you also help them with dietary wellness and mental health wellness in the same visit? Because you are now a trusted person. Don't just be a one-trick pony, so use that skill you have. All right. And say, I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna be the guy that also is gonna give them cardiovascular health, because I'm talking about exercise and diet. Or I'm gonna be someone that feels comfortable. Like, I'm a PTSD specialist. I don't know what that even means. But compared to 99% of physiatrists, I know more, and I can provide care. All right. But so I can bring that value, right? What value can you bring in addition to what you've been trained to do? That would blow people away at an interview. Say, I want to, yes, use my special, unique DO skills, but I also want to bring in other elements, because being an osteopath has opened my eyes that it isn't just X or Y. Allopaths are a little more rigid that way, but not in PM&R. Wide open.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No, I love the hair, by the way. Totally dig it.
Thank you.
Was there one more?
Yeah, Eric wanted to know that he said he's interested in unless he wants to ask it, but he was saying If
Eric Wynn, it's a hybrid career. Oh,
I
yeah,
could
okay.
ask it. I'm just driving a
Hey,
little
dude.
bit. So, how you doing?
I've been on 2 Zooms where people have crashed while they were talking. So I hope you're not the third one, man.
No, I'm looking straight ahead.
All right,
I
man.
got. I was just wondering, in terms of if I'm interested in both an
Yeah.
outpatient and patient experience,
Love you.
I know I could be plugged in an outpatient clinic in like an ortho clinic or have my own, but how do
Yeah.
I make that flexibility work in terms of doing outpatient and inpatient? Like, do I pick up locums as sort of a secondary to my primary job as
Oh,
a,
you would, you could, but you don't need to. There will be so many hybrid spots available when you graduate, where people are like, we need someone to cover 10 beds in an IRF, a rehabilitation facility, or in a SNF, and you're like, oh, I can do that at 7:30 to 9, and then I can do it 3:30 to 4 or whatever, and you have a clinic or you can just do it a couple days a week. You can just be the rehab consultant and have a APP or a primary care doc take care of their medical issues, but twice a week you're popping in there and seeing 20 people and running a team meeting. No, dude, I will hire you tomorrow if you want to do that.
I'm down.
Send me a note. No, I mean, but really, hybrid is really where it's at. It's the smart play. It's diversification. All right. Just do not be a one-trick pony. Don't just say, I want to do this. Even if in your heart you want to. When you get in practice, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna have a steady income. So that way, if my outpatient clinic costs get too high or becomes of a hassle, I want to have 20, 40, 100 beds that I'm providing coverage for, or I've got a team that's doing that. No, so Eric, that's the way you want to be thinking.
Appreciate it. Thank you
Diversify.
so much.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Cool. All right, you want to finish with Lewis?
Yeah, how you doing, Cifu?
There he is. What's up, dude?
Hey, I'm Lewis. I'm a second year at Ohio University. Just started as president of our PM&R club here.
Nice.
What I've
I would
noticed,
call it a special interest group. Sounds better than a club on your CV. Go ahead.
special interest group. I'll write that down after this.
SIG.
But,
Oh yeah.
yeah, so I've noticed not really anyone knows about PM&R. So, okay. You
Yeah,
want
no,
to
I'm kidding. No, dude. Nobody's heard about it for 35 years. I've been waving this banner for 32 or 35 years. I was the president. I've done all these things. I was the head of all the VA. And so I've tried to get people more aware of it, but people don't get it, man. It's like sliced bread, baby. Like, I don't understand why people are not getting it. And it's good at some level because there's so many jobs. And the competition is lower. It's bad, as I said, though, because there's a need for what we do, and other non-trained people are doing it. Not because they're not cool, but they didn't even know it existed. So they're taking care of pain or spinal cord or sports and stuff like that. And it's not going to change because I want it to. We're way behind the curve. But there's a growing number of training programs, like some I never even heard of, like some. My residents or my students come to me like, I've never even heard of that, but they're growing because there's a vision of the need.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I didn't say this already, but no matter what program you get in, be the best resident there, crush it. All right. Like you don't have to go to the #1 program. Nobody cares. Get trained. All right. Give it your all, get it all, but help people. You're gonna be the bomb if you do that. You can go to a great program and sit on your ass all day, and you're not gonna be good. You can put it on your shirt. Oh, I trained here, but if you're not good, you're not good. People will know. All right. But yeah, it's the least heard of best thing. It's not because I'm not out there waving the flag, man. But maybe your generation will help that. Yeah, go ahead.
I mentioned that because. Like one of my big things with this club, it's like pretty new. So I want to the special interest group is pretty new. So I want to kind of get the word out there because we start on Monday and the first years all come in and I'm making a presentation about it.
Steal mine. You want to steal mine? Take mine.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, can I take clips of this recording?
Take the whole thing, man. Take my name off it. It's fine. Yeah. Austin will say that. Yeah, of course. No.
I'll keep your name on there. Pretty cool.
No, I don't care. I don't. And you can say, you know, you're an FOD, you're a friend of Dave, and he you know, gave me these slides and he wants to help out. Yeah, please. No,
All right.
wave the flag, folks. Be a leader. Be a leader.
Yeah,
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Ma.
I was gonna say you should tell DARPA to move the funding from a little bit of the funding from the VA to promoting PM&R.
Oh, no, I've gotten so much DARPA. I love DARPA. I have DARPA
I love
shirts. You kidding? I love DARPA. Oh my God.
I did read with DARPA in undergrad. We were doing the little electrodes in the brain.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was fun. Yeah.
No, it's insane. It's insane what they study, but they give you 4 times as much money as you need. It's great. I was working with a guy in DARPA who was, what was Jeff Ling. He was the head of DARPA at the time, and he would call me all the time, like, Dave, I want an update, you know, from on the research. Like literally, I'd hear gunfire because I said, Jeff, where the hell are you now? He says, I can't tell you. Special, you know, I'm like, what the fuck? He goes, yeah, but while he's getting killed and shooting people, he's also getting pressure to update the research I'm doing. I'm like, this guy's crazy, you know, cray, but it's cool. He gave me a lot of coin, and they have the coolest shirts and outfits. Yeah, I love DARPA. That's cool, man. That's cool. Rock on. All right, hey, folks, thank you so much. You don't have to thank me, also. It's good. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Thanks for being interested in our special interest group, not club. All right. You know, stick with it. It's the best. And worst comes to worst, be aware of it. So whatever field you go into, you're like, oh, I could send this kind of person to rehab. This would be a great person for this. So at least be aware. Or, oh, my grandma fell. Well, what was that guy saying? Let's go to rehab. So, you know, it's the coolest thing. All right. And I will do this career in my next 5 lives if I believed in reincarnation. It's just awesome. So all the best, everybody. If I can help, please feel free to reach out, and enjoy your club meeting tomorrow. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Cifu.
All right. Later.